Of all the ways to follow up a takeover, that was certainly one of them. I'm John Rentham with my review of WWE NXT, the first NXT on Tuesdays, because there's no longer a Wednesday night war. Let's see how NXT does on Tuesdays going solo, and let's see how AEW does going solo on Wednesdays. Certainly going to be interesting, and hopefully the rosters benefit. As for this show, it was fine. There was one shocking moment that I'm not sure why they did it, even though it was kind of cool, and some of the show was just kind of there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So, Karrion Kross and Scarlett start off, and Kross cuts a promo basically saying, time always comes full circle. He's the champion. He praises Balor, saying he's one of the best ever in NXT, and he is. Truly, Finn Balor helped raise the bar in NXT. He doesn't just set the bar, he is the bar. Wait, no, that's another Irish guy on the WWE roster. He says that no one will outgrind me. He's going to grind on everybody. Grind them into the ground, grind them repeatedly, grind on top. And sorry, I lost my train of thought there. And then he says, everyone pays the toll. So basically, he's a ferryman. And if you've seen the movie Ferryman, I'm very sorry because it was kind of absolutely shit. But this is a good promo from Karrion Kross. I'm interested to see who's going to face off against him for the title. They don't have a lot of people other than O'Reilly, and I don't think they want to hotshot that yet because I think O'Reilly and Kross is the endgame to end Karrion Kross's title reign. They shouldn't do that till, I would say, at least November. I think give Karrion Kross at least a 7-month run. So anyway, a lot of recaps on the show. Recaps of TakeOver with, various praising tweets. MSK versus Drake and Dane NXT tag title match because Drake and Dane won a number 1 contenders match on the pre-show, showing what little they think of the tag division. To be fair, there's some talented teams, but the tag division as a whole doesn't really feel like it has a lot of juice behind it. I hate the theme, which I know is the idea, but seriously, I wanted to see them lose in 30 seconds. They didn't. These guys can work. Drake can work. Dane can work. I like MSK as a team. Drake takes a bad bump at one point on his head. Thankfully, he's okay, but it looked a little bit rough. And MSK ends up getting the victory, and life goes on dull as before. Then Imperium attacks and lays out Killian Dane, proving that he's going to join the group at one point because they're going to need people because Walter is not always going to be there. Even though he's the NXT UK champion, he's just going to dominate in NXT UK and chop the hell out of everybody, like he did to Ciampa. He didn't quite chop the Blue Lives Matter out of him, but I digress. And then we get to Robert Stone having sparkly gloves, and he's going to get Aaliyah and Jessi Kamea a women's tag title shot, and then Mercedes Martinez basically pulls a Stewie Griffin with Brian. Where's my money? Where's my money? She starts to choke out Aaliyah, who I totally forgot was there, even though she was on camera the whole goddamn time. And then Jessi Kamea says, hey, I want to step on you. Who's been watching my videos talking about, women stepping on me? Who's been watching that? I kid. It's something that people are into. It's a running joke that I have, but man, she wants to step on Mercedes. That's going to be a bit interesting considering they're both about the same size. So, get your vaccination today, unless you still think the insurrection attempt was a good idea, then you can fuck off to hell. So we then get Strong and Shafir arriving. It actually took me a bit to remember which one of, Shayna's goons, or Shayna's former goons, that is, that he was married to. They arrive. What's going to happen with Roderick Strong? We find out later. Recaps of O'Reilly and Cole having their unsanctioned match, and basically they're being stretchered off. It's like, you're dead to me, you son of a bitch. You're fucking dead to me, all that. It's like, man, we were brothers. You were my brother, Anakin. No, everybody was just upset at everybody. Please let this be the end. Have Cole go to SmackDown or something, or I don't care, but you can't have Cole stay in NXT. You can't. You have to have people go their goddamn separate ways. And then Jessi Kamea took on Mercedes. Jessi Kamea had Aaliyah and Robert Stone in her corner. For all the good that did, it did nothing. She lost in a few minutes. Jessi isn't bad. It's just obvious that Mercedes was a more experienced worker here. And then Mercedes, corners Robert Stone and gets her money. Bitch better have her money. Say, hey. Sounded so goddamn white saying that. I'm almost ashamed, except I'm not, because I will embarrass myself further on other reviews. Possibly this one. Gargano talks about a 4-way intergender match. And look, Johnny Gargano can work, and he really can go in the ring. And I also find him to be a very boring heel. I like Indy. I also like the fact that Indy is about a half a foot taller than Johnny Gargano, seemingly. And then Swerve is in the studio, and he says he will get rid of Leon Ruff once and for all. Yeah, about that. And then Legoland Phantasm is here. I know Legado del Phantasm, but it's a funnier way to say it there. And he says he proved he was the undisputed Cruiserweight champion, offers an open challenge, and Kushida answers it. Kushida has trunks, and he won. Kushida lost to Pete Dunne at TakeOver Stand Deliver and wins here. Now, I have no problem with Kushida winning. I'm glad that they're finally giving him something to do, considering they've had him for 2 goddamn years by this point. He left New Japan in early 2019 and signed with WWE. and it took them this long to do something with him. Like, he'll get a great takeover match, or he'll have a great series of matches on TV, and then they'll forget about him for a while. I know he had like a wrist injury sometime in later 2019, but still, even pandemic aside, he's living in Florida. You had a chance to use him like this before, and they didn't. And him beating Escobar, it was cool. It was a great moment. I look forward to seeing what Kushida can do as Cruiserweight Champion, but it just seems like they're hot-shotting this shit. Escobar losing it, I did actually end up saying, I think, on the TakeOver Stand Deliver Night 2 review, that Escobar was likely going to lose the title like Scott Hall did when he was Razor Ramon, lost the Intercontinental Championship shortly after WrestleMania 10 when he became the undisputed Intercontinental Champion, and he did lose it pretty damn quickly. Not quite the same time. I think it was a couple weeks for Razor, but still a bit odd considering Kushida's had the stop-start thing and suddenly he wins. I'm not upset with Kushida winning. It just seems odd how they just suddenly, boom, did that. If they give Kushida a lengthy run with the Cruiserweight Championship, at least till SummerSlam, I'm all for it. And Escobar can possibly go after the North American Championship. Him beating Gargano, anybody beating Gargano at this point, almost anybody would be a better choice as champion. Nothing against Gargano as a performer, but seriously, he's a great wrestler. Sick of him in NXT. Escobar and Kushida, though, they did have a really good match. They really did. And then Ciampa and Thatcher talk about, getting back together because unlike Taylor Swift, they were forever, ever getting back together. And they say they're coming for MSK. Gross. But they're also coming for the tag titles. Also gross. Devlin then confronts Kushida and says, well, the travel gods are smiling upon you because even though I just implied I want to face you, I'm going back home for a bit, but I'm going to come back and win the Cruiserweight title. Okay? The Irish Easter Island statue has to go back home. Maybe he's needed at the park because they had to send other statues away because they need younger statues that maybe will be rude to the ground and not harass women. So then Dakota introduces Raquel Gonzalez, who says it took her a while to be, where she's at now. She was supposed to make her, make a grand, entrance on the first ever NXT episode on USA, but she had to go home. I don't remember quite what that was about, but she showed up at TakeOver Portland, which is an event I wish I could have seen, but at the time the snow was really hitting, and there was, the beginnings of the pandemic going on at that point. But Raquel since then has really done well. Dakota, got some praise. She also, and Raquel also praised Io. And then this is the weirdest segment because this was cool, and then Taya Valkyrie, aka Franky Monet, shows up, and that dog looked absolutely terrified, 100% terrified. He looked like he was like, I want treats, help, human mom, what are you doing? Who is this scary lady, and why does she have pink hair? How do I know what pink is? I thought dogs are colorblind. Anyway, so good for Taya. I met Taya Valkyrie in an indie show about almost 3 years ago at this point. Super nice, really good in the ring, and I'm happy for her. Raquel then says that she will shove that dog up her ass. She said another word, I have no goddamn idea. Or maybe she'd shove it somewhere else. I have no idea. A lot of Spanish, and I gotta say, Franky Monet would not be bad, except it doesn't really fit Taya. I have no problem with name changes. That doesn't really fit. It sounds like she should be more like Cherry from Deuce and Domino, in my personal opinion. Like a 50s style chick instead of, being the hybrid of English and Spanish style and everything. It just seems weird. But then here's Rhea to suddenly show up. So she talks to Raquel, or just looks at Raquel and everything, says a couple things, and they hug. Even though they had this blood feud where Rhea got sent out of NXT by Raquel. And then Bianca shows up. All three of them are champions, and they recreate this, I guess, Instagram or social media post that they had. And good for them. I'm happy for all of them being champions. It was just weird how they used, they had Taya Valkyrie's debut right in the middle of this. It just made no sense the way they did that. And then Pete Dunne says that he proved he was the best technical wrestler at TakeOver, yet isn't a champion, but Kushida is, the man he beat, and says he will win gold again. Maybe he'll go for the North American Championship. I just want the North American Championship off of Gargano. And then Regal talks about Sarray and says she's a warrior of the sun, and then next week she'll show up strong, then tells Regal, I'm done. Hands him his papers, says, I'm done. And him and Shafir leave. So he's done in NXT. Maybe he'll show up on SmackDown. It is the workhorse show, and honestly, Strong is really, really good in the ring. I would like to see Strong on SmackDown. But anyway, Swerve versus Leon Ruff. Bit of a size difference. I like Swerve. And Leon can work. I'm just worried with the way he bumps. He is going to break something, and it's going to be bad. I mean, wrestling's a contact sport, but good God. Well-paced. Swerve does, get a few shots in and dominates after Ruff gets a bit of a, like flurry in the beginning. And then Cutter by Ruff, very, very unique. Hits a huge top rope Rana for 2. Swerve then eventually does win. And he's all happy. He's put Ruff behind him. And then Zoe talks about being Toni Storm on the pre-show. And then Mercedes says, why are you wasting time talking to her? Because she beat Toni Storm on the pre-show. Well, I just beat Jessi Kamea on TV. Those two things are not quite the same, though I do think Mercedes is the better worker. I don't think Zoe's all that bad in the ring. And then Ruff attacks Swerve backstage. It's not over until I say it's over. Who is the heel here? And then Reed, Loomis, Ember, and Shotzi took on The Way. If it wasn't for Indy in this match, I probably wouldn't have given a shit about it. At least on the heel side. Proud Boy ref is not needed. Q ref is not needed. That guy can fuck the hell off. This is your main event, I wrote. No. Well, they kept going with this Indy Loomis thing. And eventually what happened, it was a mess. It was just a mess of a bunch of spots I didn't care about. I really didn't care here. It wasn't bad. I just didn't care. DDT by Candice to Loomis. You don't talk to her. Don't talk to my sister. What are you doing, you creepy weirdo? All this. And then silence to Gargano. Then Indy plays dead because she wants to get attention from Loomis. She wants Loomis to put his hands on her. Or her hands on him. I don't really kink shame or know what the hell I'm saying anymore. And then she tosses Theory out when Theory attacked, Loomis when he was about to do that. And then Loomis takes Indy away when she plays dead again. And I will always love... Ow. Ow. Never gonna try to do Whitney Houston there again because I don't take baths like she did. That was harsh. Then Tsunami Splash after Candice tried to suplex Reed. That's adorable. And that's it. So yeah, Theory got pinned and that was the end of the match. And Reed holds both of them up on his shoulder, Ember and Shotzi. And that's really it. That was it for NXT. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.